You want to get faster hands? Then you have to work on your technique. Today, join me. In this video, I am going to show you some really great hand techniques and a couple exercises to make you faster and smoother on the drums. Hello, and welcome to Tim Conley Drums. I am so glad you are here today joining me because I'm going to show you something today that is extremely important for developing your hand technique. I got some great exercises I want to share with you, and I want to talk about being super loose. That is the key. When I was in music school and also studying with some really great hand technique type drummers like Joe Morello, Dom Famularo, Ernie Porthouse, Steve Smith. When I took lessons with these guys, they all said the exact same thing, and that is that slow equals fast. Now, what does that mean? Slow means you want to do these exercises slow, with analyzing what you're doing in terms of how the sticks sit in your hand, how the stick hits the pad, how the stick moves through the air, the Freddie Gruber thing about the dance, right? How the stick moves in the air. To get a nice smooth operation of the stick, you want to know not only how it hits the drum or the pad, but what's it doing in the air as well. So all these things add up, and the slow approach is the way to go because you want to be able to do everything slow so that you can train yourself using muscle memory. Because ultimately the goal is you just pick up the sticks and you just go. Buddy Rich was once asked what he does for a warm-up, and he said, "I take my hands out of my pockets." Now, he might have been joking. I don't know. I remember Dom Famularo telling me that Buddy did not spend a lot of time practicing, and Dom knew Buddy very well, very well. And Dom had so many amazing stories about Buddy. And one of the things he told me was that Buddy would occasionally warm up a little bit in the green room, but not a lot, and he barely practiced. Unbelievable. I mean, you know, it's funny how people that are absolute naturals, I don't think they have to put the time in like us, the rest of us mere mortals have to. Anyways, so let's talk about the grip first. So the way that I was taught and the way that I'm going to show you today is just the way that I learned it. But I learned it from some really great teachers, and it's also how I get the sticks to move so smoothly, okay? So there's two approaches that I'm going to show you, actually. One is gripping where the stick sits on the second knuckle, and I'm using the German position, which is palm facing down, and your arms are nice and relaxed. And as Freddie Gruber would say, you just bring your arm up like this. Where does it land? So that is an extremely natural ergonomic position. And of course, do that with the other hand. Right? So you got the pair of them here. This is a normal position to be in. You're not doing anything weird. This is perfectly normal. Now, the key is that you want to be slightly bent with your wrist and loose. When you're gripping the stick, you want to grip it in such a way that pretend you had a bird in your hand. If you grip the stick too tightly, you're going to kill the bird. You're going to crush him. If you grip the stick extremely loosely, the bird's going to fly away. So in other words, you don't want the stick flying out of your hands. You don't want the stick crushed in your hands. You want to find a nice, happy medium. Now, if the stick does fly out of your hands, don't worry. That's actually not necessarily a bad thing because it's leading you on the path to being looser. Okay? So from this position here, I like to move the sticks with my 3 back fingers. I just answered a question. Somebody just emailed me about this. So this is where I'm using the fulcrum, is right here, if you can see that. Okay, that's my fulcrum position. These 3 fingers then control the stick. So there's the fulcrum without doing anything with the fingers, just getting the stick to bounce. The idea is you want to get the stick to come all the way back and create this circular motion. So if I was to lose the stick would go off in a circle, okay? So that's called exercise for the free stroke. Getting the stick to bounce right back like a snap. And it's absolutely effortless. This reminds me, and I tell my students that this is my version of the Bruce Lee 1-inch punch, but nobody gets hurt. Maybe the pad a little bit. What I'm doing is just a tiny little movement of the wrist. But look how much power is being generated in that tiny movement. The stick just shoots right back. That's the goal, people. That's what Buddy Rich taught Dom Famularo in the green room around 1969 or 70 at the first lesson. Buddy said, watch this, kid. And he did that. That's what Buddy taught Dom Famularo. How do I know this? Because Dom told me, and Dom showed me this exact thing. Get the stick to move. After you get the stick moving like this, now we get the fingers involved. Now you'll notice when I throw the stick, it's open suddenly. Don't throw the fingers away. It's a subtle opening, and then the fingers come back. So you've got this motion. Just like that. Okay? Now, in terms of getting the stick to move in the fulcrum position, like I was mentioning here, you want to make sure that the stick is being held loosely and it flows. So this is a great way to test whether or not you are getting the stick to move properly. If the stick is bouncing and you're just holding the stick, but you're holding it so loose that the stick is allowed to move freely, hence the free stroke title. Free stroke, this is the full position of the free stroke. This is the mid position of the free stroke. This is the low position of the free stroke, okay? I use all 3 of those positions. Now, when you're getting that stick to bounce, what you want to do, of course, after you get it bouncing, is then get your fingers to take over. Okay? So your fingers take over. So you get the bounce. Once you get the bounce going, the fingers then start doing this motion. Now, here's the thing about the fingers that everybody gets wrong. Everybody puts the stick too far back in their hand. Either they put it on the second set of pads here, or they're actually trying to get the stick to move on the back pads. So this is a no-no, this is a no-no. Where you want to be is actually utilizing the tip of your fingers, and this is the motion. Hence, this that Joe Morello taught me, getting your fingers to move. Now, guys, please keep in mind, if this is your first time watching my channel, you're going to notice my left hand is a little bit wonky. It's because I've had 5 hand surgeries. So while I still like to keep my hands in shape as much as possible, this finger, unfortunately, just does not move like my other fingers. It's just the way it is. I have to deal with that in my life now. But as far as the technique goes, I still try and utilize that same bouncing and finger movement technique, even with an injured hand. So I'm actually holding the stick more so on the tips. So this kind of is the flagpole snap technique that I did a video about. I'm going to do another video about. Now, another really, really important thing is the pinky. Do not do this. That's a huge no-no. Tension. Dom Famularo would say, tension is the enemy of movement. Make sure your pinky is with your other fingers and they're not spread out. They're all together. This is a unit. The three of them are a unit and it controls the stick. This is the pivot point. This is the control. You want to have a nice space here. And an exercise to develop the space here in your hand is putting the other stick. This is what Dom Famularo showed me again. Getting the other stick in there. I shouldn't be squeezing it. I should be able to in and out while I'm doing this. If the stick's like that, this is too tight. My grip is too tight. So after you train yourself to be able to do this, you take the stick out. Make sure you keep the hand spread out. You want to have this loose, the thumb loose, this loose, and all this loose. Now, another thing I want to point out is this finger really doesn't do much. It's just balancing the stick. Sometimes my finger comes off. My thumb never comes off. Keep your thumb on the stick. Sometimes this finger does come off. If you'll notice, sometimes when I'm doing the free stroke, you'll see the finger not necessarily come completely off, but it's very, very loose, allowing, the grip is so loose that I'm allowing the stick to move in its entirety. Okay, so nice and loose, controlling with these three fingers. Now I'm going to give you a couple exercises that are really great, Joe Morello exercises. The stone killer, group of 4, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, double that, 3, 4, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then of course group of 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now notice space, fingers on the stick, pinky is also on the stick. I'm getting a nice movement, I'm relaxed. This finger, unfortunately, does not wrap around the stick. I can still get the sticks to move decently, as you can see. But this finger here, you'll notice, because somebody commented on one of my videos, oh, your left hand isn't, it's not as smooth as your right. Well, it's because of that 5 surgeries. I can still play, not as good as my right hand. Now, here's what's funny is I'm a lefty. My left hand was much stronger than my right. I managed to balance them out, and the right became almost as good as the left, or pretty close to being as good as my left. Then I had this hand problem that's been ongoing for over 2 years, 2.5 years, and I had all those surgeries and everything. And now, of course, my left hand is extremely weak compared to my right. It's just the way it is. I'm still loose and relaxed. I can still get the sticks to bounce nice. Unfortunately, though, this finger, I just can't move it in the same way. It's just the way it is, guys. Sorry. Now, as far as this technique being my go-to, I would say this technique is the one that I use the most. Sometimes I also use a technique, as I mentioned, where I put the stick in the first knuckle. Very similar to the second knuckle technique, but some people like to use it in the first knuckle technique. Either one is fine. I use both depending on what I'm doing. You know, I usually use the second knuckle, but like I said, if you want to put it in the first knuckle, make sure the stick is on your fingers, on both of them, pads of the fingers. Right here is where you want to move the stick. Because if you try and move the stick with here, And here, it's just not going to work. You're going to be fighting with the stick. I'm trying to get you to move the stick extremely loosely and easily so your battle with the sticks ends. It's finally going to be over. Okay, now the last exercise is a combination that I want to show you of what I just did, but it's the stone killer, but it's going to be 16th notes and 32nd notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that's the stone killer. You've got the group of 4s only. Then you've got the group of 4s plus group of 8 as 32nd notes. So I'm going 1, E, and then I'm switching. But of course, it's at a 32nd note rate of speed when I'm doing the alternating strokes. All right, that is a really, really great exercise for developing looseness and skill. Now, the key to single strokes and double strokes, paradiddles, you name it, it's all about getting the sticks to bounce and let them move naturally. The other thing is, if your grip is wonky, the stick is going to go like this, right? It's going to move side to side. This movement, developing this free stroke, where the stick moves straight back like this, you're not going to have that issue of the stick moving side to side. As you can see, it's straight back. Nice and relaxed and loose. Okay, nice and relaxed. Everything has to be loose and relaxed. Anyways, I hope that helped. Now, there is one other. Al, my old pal, my student from England. Al asked me about the triple stroke roll. I'm just going to touch on that quickly. So I'm utilizing that 4 element, turning it into 3s. So you can do the triple stroke roll and or triplets exactly the same way that I showed you with the groupings of 4 and the groupings of 8. So you can do them in 3s and 6s. So here's the 3, nice and slow, getting the bounce. Here's the grouping of 6. 1, 2, 3. So you get the idea that you can duplicate the grouping of 4 and 8 and do 3s and 6s. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. So you guys get the idea. I hope that helps a little bit. Al, exercise to develop your grouping of 3s. Okay, the last exercise I wanted to give you was just getting the sticks to bounce and developing the muscles here and in your wrists. Okay, so start off really slow, getting the sticks to bounce, nice and relaxed and loose. Speed it up a little bit. Now the sticks are going to come down a little bit to the mid-range. Now you want to try and make sure the sticks are even and balanced. Both sticks are bouncing nicely. You're breathing and you're relaxed. Faster. Same thing, nice and relaxed. Breathing. Okay. Now, if you're doing it right, you should start to feel something here. And shake it out and keep working those muscles. That's the goal, is to develop the muscles in the wrists and arms so that this becomes effortless. Alrighty. So thanks very much for watching. And I want to thank all the new subscribers. I've had a sudden flurry of subscribers, so I'm really happy about that. So I did this for Al, and I did this for another person that I can't remember his name. I'll put his name down here below when I check it again, who emailed me saying that he's been watching my channel for several years and he enjoys my channel, and he had a question about some hand technique. So I hope that I answered that today. Now, today was mainly the free stroke and the bounce. I'm also going to do a video again about some molar technique. I'm also going to do a flagpole snap, and of course the push-pull technique. I'm always bouncing around these technique things because I believe that technique eventually, once it's developed, is going to lead you to much smoother and better playing. All right, thank you very much for watching. And as always, keep drumming. See ya.